I always knew that I wanted to have my own business, or at least for a while. Went to school for business and economy, and that's when it really, the idea got stronger. I wanted to have my own business at some point, and I didn't really see myself necessarily working somewhere. Then I moved to the US, and I didn't have a green card for a long time, so that what sparked starting a business at that time, because I was like, well, I can prepare all these things for a business, come up with an idea, start planning things, and once I get my green card, I can actually launch it. And at the same time, I was also starting to home make deodorants, because when I lived in Germany, I started buying deodorant creams because they're a lot more sustainable than other deodorant options. And once I started buying it for how sustainable it was, I started liking it for how good it was. I moved to the US and couldn't really find it anywhere, or it would be super expensive. So I said, well, I don't know, this can't be that hard to make. So I just looked up online some different formulations on how to make it, and played around with it until I found something I really liked. And I started using that, and then I thought to myself, if I like it, why wouldn't other people like it too? And if it works for me, why wouldn't it also work for other people? And so I literally just walked into the candle makers one day, candle makers on the square downtown, and I said, do you want to sell my deodorants? And they said, bring us a sample. So I brought them a sample. They really liked it. And yeah, they said they wanted to sell my products without even knowing my full name. And then I just started to think of other things that I needed. My sister-in-law was pregnant at the time, so I looked into making a belly balm for her stretching belly, and I did that. And then I needed a body butter, because I'd ran out of lotion. So I said, well, I don't want to buy lotion because the containers at the store are so big and you have to throw them away once you're done. So there must be, alternatives. I can make this at home. And it went from there. I just started buying more and more ingredients. And pretty much whenever I needed something new that I ran out of, I looked into making it myself. So it's hard for me to not get too excited about the next thing, to not get excited about the new scent that I could order or the new product that I could make, but rather focus on what's important right now, which is, for example, the farmer's market. So I started in spring 2022 at the community farmer's market. So I was looking for a local source for the beeswax for my deodorant, because I figured if there's local honey, there's probably also local beeswax. So I went to the community farmers market to see if they had any, and I walked in there, and then I thought to myself, honestly, this would be a great place to have a booth. So I went back pretty soon after to submit my application, and then actually very soon after I got an email, hey, you're admitted to the farmers market, do you want a booth? And it's been great there. I really love it. It's such an amazing community of vendors, but also people, and just so much fruit has come from being a vendor there. Usually I start talking to people, especially in the first months of the farmers market. I was very engaging with customers, aka an aggressive salesperson. Pretty much anybody who would walk by, I would talk to and just try to bring in people and try to start making people familiar with me. And also I was new, so I didn't want to be overlooked. I also just had a half booth, so a little less space than, other vendors. So yeah, I would just start talking to people. It felt very smooth, honestly, the transition from only selling at the candle makers and to friends and family to having a space every week. It almost feels like owning a store once a week. I honestly think I had to work a lot for my sales. People come to the farmers market to shop for fruits and vegetables for the most part. But yeah, in order to not be overseen and people just run past me to their vegetables, I definitely approached a lot of people. But trying to talk about my products and just trying to get the word out there. When I started my business, I quickly started to notice that, at least for me, owning my own business very much spreads into my whole life, especially when I first started. everything is so flexible and everything is so dependent on me that it's hard to stop working and hard to stop having ideas. Once I started noticing that my business started spreading everywhere in my life, I started to get a lot more stressed out because there was no getting away from it. And that's when my desire grew to find a group of like-minded entrepreneurs, ideally locally, but I was fine to just have it be a Zoom community.
The reason why I started Cultivate is because I became an entrepreneur, loved it, but didn't have a community. I was used to working with coworkers in an office setting, and so that was something that I was missing. And also being new to entrepreneurship, I didn't have a lot of experience. There were questions that I had, and I didn't know who I could go to for those questions. So I decided maybe I can have like a group of women get together that own businesses and we can grow together, ask questions, and just kind of do life together. So that's how Cultivate got started. I messaged her on Instagram and I was telling her about Cultivate. I saw that she was a businesswoman and that she was like selling all organic like body care. And I was like, that's really cool and unique. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, you know, I'm having this event. I would love for you to come.
And I said, yes, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. So I went really just to mingle, honestly, and to make friends, make some new business connections. And I continue going to the events and following along on social media, kind of growing a little community there.
I care about Jo's business. I care about Jojo's Body Care, but I care about Jo as a person, as a human. And so I want to know what's going on in her personal life. I want to know all of the things, because whatever's going on with Jo is also going to impact her business. And it's nice to be able to collaborate the two. And so you have the human side, but then you also have this business development side. And I feel like when those coincide, I feel like you just get magic.
I would say I was rather timid and still am a little bit timid, but I just started really getting out of my shell in my business and believing for the best. And that's been honestly like almost 100%, I can almost 100% attribute that to Cultivate, because that's when I started seeing other people actually having big dreams and chasing after their big dreams, which is such an American thing to say. And I didn't think I would ever say that. Just having these big dreams, daring to have these big dreams and believing that I can be that person is very new to me and very encouraging, very empowering, knowing that if I want to achieve something big, I can. I just have to believe for it and I have to make ways for it. Dreaming big is definitely such a major accomplishment, which sounds funny because dreaming isn't usually considered an accomplishment, but to me that's a big accomplishment. Dreaming big and believing for it.